In the 1970s, scientists created a perfect society for mice. Unlimited food, no predators. Within a few years, the entire population had collapsed. And now some researchers think AI could create the same conditions for us. In 1972, a scientist named John B. Calhoun built paradise for mice. An enclosed pen, unlimited food, unlimited water, no predators, no disease, everything a mouse could ever want. He called it Universe 25, and for a while it worked beautifully. The population doubled, then doubled again, but something unexpected happened. Despite having everything they needed, the mice began to fall apart, socially, behaviourally, psychologically, and then quietly they stopped reproducing altogether. The population collapsed to zero. Calhoun had a name for it. He called it the Behavioural Sink. Phase 1, the boom. Population explodes, resources are infinite, life is good. Phase 2. Despite having plenty of space, the mice cluster together. Aggression spikes, social hierarchies break down, roles that gave mice purpose, protecting, nesting, foraging, start to disappear. Phase 3, the beautiful ones. A generation emerges that does nothing but eat, sleep and groom. They are physically perfect. They are socially dead. They no longer fight. They no longer mate. They exist but only barely. Phase 4, collapse. The population peaks and then falls off a cliff. The mice that remain can no longer form the bonds needed to sustain a society. Even when researchers moved them to a new empty enclosure with abundant resources, they couldn't recover. Something was gone that couldn't come back. Now, let's talk about us. Artificial intelligence is advancing at a pace that economists, historians and policymakers are struggling to keep up with. Routine tasks, coding, analysis, design, writing, logistics are all being automated faster than new roles are being created to replace them. Some researchers believe we could see 40 to 80% of current jobs displaced within a generation. Not tomorrow, but soon enough to matter. If that happens, if the need to compete, contribute and problem solve is removed from daily life on a large scale, what does that do to us psychologically? Phase 1 maps easily. Early AI creates abundance. Productivity soars. Standards of living rise. Optimism is justified. This is the phase we're entering now. Phase 2 is where it gets interesting. Even in a world with unlimited resources, the loss of meaningful social roles, of having a function, a contribution, a reason to be relied upon, may produce the same psychological fragmentation the mice experienced. Digital tribalism, deepening polarisation, a retreat into curated online worlds that feel more rewarding than physical reality. Phase 3 is the one that should worry us the most. The beautiful ones weren't suffering, they looked fine, they were simply hollow. If AI handles our memory, our creativity, our critical thinking, do we risk what researchers call intellectual helplessness? A generation that is comfortable but incapable. Phase 4. Birth rates in the world's most technologically comfortable nations are already in steep decline. The USA, Russia, Japan, South Korea, Germany and the United Kingdom. The more automated and convenient life becomes, the less inclined people seem to undertake the difficult, demanding work of raising the next generation. Calhoun's mice didn't stop breeding because they were starving, they stopped because nothing required them to start. So here's the obvious response: universal basic income. If AI displaces work, we give everyone a guaranteed income. Problem solved. Purpose preserved through freedom. It's a serious proposal and it deserves a serious examination from both sides. Supporters argue that UBI doesn't end purpose, it expands it. When survival is guaranteed, people pursue meaning rather than just money. art, caregiving, community, philosophy, entrepreneurship. The argument goes, we've always defined ourselves by more than our jobs. Free us from economic anxiety and we'll surprise ourselves. But here's where Calhoun's experiment cuts back. The mice in Universe 25 had the equivalent of universal basic income. Every need met, no work required. And that wasn't a safeguard, it was the experiment itself. The concern isn't economic, it's biological. Evolutionary psychologists argue that struggle, striving and contribution aren't things we do because we have to, they are things we are built for. Remove them entirely and you don't get contentment, you get drift. Now the honest answer is that we don't know. UBI has never been tested at civilisational scale in a post-scarcity environment alongside near total AI automation. The mice experiment tells us something important, but mice are not people. Humans have language, culture, religion, philosophy and art. We have the capacity to consciously construct meaning even when circumstance doesn't force it. The question isn't whether UBI could work, the question is whether we could choose to build the structures of meaning around it, or whether we'd simply consume what's easiest and call it living. Calhoun himself said it plainly, the death of the spirit precedes the death of the body. The mice didn't die because they lack food, they died because they lack purpose. The question for us, the one none of the economists or the tech billionaires or the policy papers seem to be asking loudly enough, if AI gives us everything, will we still need to become anything? Now, I don't know the answer, but I think asking the question seriously, collectively, might be the most important thing we do in the next 10 years. This is AI Scrutinised. I'm Ian, thank you for watching.